All right, hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Let me get my camera situated here. So, yeah, weird stream times this week, but I'll get into that in just a second. But before I do, I want to remind everyone that Gunforged is available for sale. So if you want to support my work, you can definitely check out the Steam page. It's linked in the description below. You can purchase it now, and I'm sure, hint hint, wink wink, that Gunforged will be on sale in the future, potentially the near future. So if you prefer, you can add it to your wish list and wait for it to go on sale. I also have my Udemy courses. These will teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. This one is the Survivors style course, which has thousands of students, thousands of ratings, and it's, yeah, again, it's a great way to support me. So this is also linked in the description below. I also have an online multiplayer cooperative game course in the works, which should be released sometime this month. And what else do I got going on? I don't know. I'll be doing YouTube memberships shortly. I actually had, I think, what is a good idea. YouTube memberships will be a way that you can support me for a monthly subscription, basically. But the highest tier membership, I'm going to give anyone who owns the highest tier membership unlimited access to all of my course content via YouTube. So I'll create, you know, playlists for all of the course content that I've created, and then I'll lock that behind the certain membership tier. So if you prefer, you can purchase the YouTube membership to get access to all my courses instead of individually buying them from Udemy. So that will be an option available to you in the future as well. But I got to finish this course first. I got a lot on my plate. So anyway, hello Kenny Az, welcome back. Yes, early today, and I'll get into that in just a second. Why this week is a mess, y'all. Yeah, so I'll just answer all these at the same time. How did the meetings go? Welcome, Adam, and hello, Shirley. So yeah, the The reason the streams are a little bit wonky this week is because I'm doing a new part-time job just to fill in some of my budget. It's only like 10 hours a week, but I keep having meetings scheduled like smack dab in the middle of my stream times. This morning I have a meeting at 11:30, so that's why I'm streaming at 9 instead of 10. So yeah. Anyway, that's why it's a mess. It's just a mess because I've got I've got a bunch of other things going on now, but the part-time job is only a 6-week engagement. So, and I'm sure once I'm done like onboarding and getting the details from all the meetings and stuff, I'm sure that I'll have uninterrupted typical stream time. So, and I probably won't even be working on that project every day since it's a 10-hour engagement. Probably do like 3 days a week or 2 days a week or something like that. But anyway, that's still all in flux right now, so that's why the stream times are a little bit wonky this week. That's why everything's a little bit of a mess. Hello, Snup Bill. Welcome back. Good to see you. Got the message Yummers that we all look forward to every morning. Yummers indeed. That's awesome. Great idea. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. Hello, Zephyrian, and welcome, Hyro. Good to see you again. What type of job is it? It's software engineering consulting work. So basically just being hired to come in and fix a couple of things for a certain client. And yeah, they have some short-term goals that they want to accomplish, and so that's what I'll be working on. I don't know how much detail I'm allowed to go into, you know, NDAs and all that stuff. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. But for now, we're going to claim back some of this game dev time, and we're going to work on this. So this widget down here is almost done, this combat widget. I think the main thing that needs to happen is I just need to figure out the fade out stuff. So right now, if I do a combat encounter and I start it, that whole widget doesn't fade away. And I actually don't know if I'm going to be able to fade away the widget because this widget is using like sprite masking, which does not work. It does not work with the clip children. So if I want to fade this out, I might need to honestly, the annoying thing, if I want to fade this out, I might have to fade all of the sprites individually, which wouldn't necessarily be terribly difficult, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit annoying. I can't just use a canvas group and fade everything out as a unit because the masks with the clip children on, or clip only here, just doesn't play nicely with canvas groups. So, and the same is true of this orrery here. Is that what I want to do? The other option is I could just slide it out. So it slides in. I could slide it out. But the thing is, like, the way that I'm doing this for every other encounter is that the encounters, they slide in, right? So the encounters slide in, except for the board is not sliding in anymore. The encounters slide in, and then when you beat the encounter, when you finish the encounter, it slides out. Or it fades out, I mean. And that's true of basically everything, so I need to figure that out. So slide in, do your event. Boom, boom. Slide this out, fade out, okay. And that combat thing, okay. Anyway, so that's what I'm gonna have to do. Nice, nice, yes. The YouTube membership will have resources included like in Udemy, yeah. So I need to figure that out. I need to figure out how I'm going to give anyone who watches the course content on YouTube the necessary resources. It's not that difficult. I mean, I have a Backblaze subscription, and you can create like a public S3 bucket in Backblaze. So what I may do is I may just create a public bucket and then just host the files there, and then just like put the download links in the description. Can't really use like Google Drive or anything, because the problem is Google Drive will rate limit you if so many people download stuff from it. So I think all you need to use like a more enterprisey solution for it. So yeah, I think the resources will be there. They're critical to the courses, so I will figure out how to do that one way or another. That widget looks so nice. It's been fun to see how it's changed over the last week. Thank you. Yeah, it's coming along. Hello, Falitao. I'm new to Godot, finding it a bit hard to organize project folder structure that actually helps me. Can you talk a bit about your system? Sure, yeah. So I've gone over this a couple times, but it doesn't hurt to repeat it. So the way I organize it is I just do scripts, I have scenes, I have resources, I have assets, and then extra folders as necessary. But those are the main ones I usually have in all of my projects. Assets, this is where sound effects, music, art goes. Resources, these are custom resources or shaders or whatever that I'm saving, tile sets, that kind of thing. And then scenes, these are only scene files with, organized just sensibly according to the game. Usually I have an auto load folder, usually I have a component folder, usually I have a manager folder, but you can create these as necessary. And then the scripts folder, this is only my scripts. In this case, they're C# scripts. What are you doing? And this mirrors the scene's structure as closely as possible, but then there are pure scripts in here that don't necessarily have a corresponding scenes directory. So like this data folder here, this is all pure scripts in here. So it doesn't make sense for there to be a data scenes directory. So that's just kind of how I do it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You just need to make sure that you can understand it and that it makes sense to you. Ideally, you want to get into a spot, especially if you're a solo developer, where like you just know instinctively where to find everything because you're familiar with your own pattern of behavior, if that makes sense. So like if I don't remember the exact location of a script, I can generally just be like, well, where would I put that script? And then, oh yeah, I would put that in data and it's in here, The organization system needs to serve your productivity, not the other way around, right? So anyway, let's see. So yeah, I think I need to fade all these out individually. Shoot, that's going to be so annoying. Oh, goodness. The first thing that I need to do is open up the health globe. Hello, iCode stuff. Welcome back. Good to see you. On kill initiated. Kill initiated. I don't want any of this anymore. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Do I really want to do that? So here's all my Sprite 2Ds. Okay, so widget, speed disk segments. And actually, I don't need to supply that. So here's what I'll do. So all of these things here need to have this fade out material here. So let's assign that in the material. Oh, are these going to use all the same reference? They might use all the same reference. I wonder if I should just hack this together. Okay, maybe I'll just do that. So if they're all using the same reference, then I can just fade out the one material on the widget here, and that's going to fade out everything. And then for all of these things, what I'll do under the material is I'll say use parent material. So now if I just change this, that's going to fade everything out. And then for the combat disk pointer, so let's copy this. I actually don't know if this is going to create unique instances every time. I guess we'll figure that out. Paste there. Actually, we'll add it to the combat disk too. Paste there. The orrery base, all of this stuff. Ooh. Here's what I'll do. I'll add another. I'll do this. Base depth, alternate depth, we'll paste that material in there. And then for all of these, we'll say use parent material. Okay, and if I change this now, everything fades out very nicely. Why is that not working? Oh, I didn't put that material there either. Paste. All right, let me make sure that the speed disk is working as well. Okay, those icons are not working. There we go. All right, so it's a little bit wonky, but that'll be okay. So now if I just take this widget, I'm wondering if just fading out the widget is going to help. Let me do this. Let's see. Public async task play out visual utilities dot fade out what did I call it? Widget. Node private sprite 2D widget. Why does that not work? I guess we'll just do await. All right, let's do this. If this dot is current scene, create timer 3 seconds dot timeout plus equals play out. All right, well, let's see if that works. I have no clue if it will, but got another jam to do starting tomorrow. Loads of AA devs are voting and stuff. Oh, very nice. A lot of lurking will happen. That's great. Hope it goes well. Ooh, that worked. Check that out. The health globes need to go away, though. I should not have removed the change in the health globe here. Let's copy this. In the health globe, let's do a public void fade out. Okay. In the combat widget, when I play out, we're going to do player. Is there like a health globe? Do I not have a reference to the player health globe? Okay. Let's get a reference to that, I suppose. I don't know why I didn't have a reference to that. All right, let's see if that works. I think it should, but we'll see. And that text isn't fading out either. Okay, cat, I know. It's time for the cat to be annoying. I'm streaming. I'm working, and now it's time to be annoying. It's time to play, right? Work time is play time, isn't it? Yep. Come here. What do you want? Come here. Oh, goodness, these creatures. So in here, these labels also need to have that material. Oh, that's not going to work. Right, I forgot you can't apply typical shaders to labels. Oh, that's a bummer. How am I going to do that? I think what I'll have to do, I don't really want to do this, but I think what I got to do is use the canvas group for this. So I need the label references, node, private, label, player health, label, node, private, label, enemy, health, label. And then in here, visual utilities, dot fade out and queue free, player health label, enemy health label. I think this will work. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I love how you animated the circulating liquid. Thank you, Mervy Doug. Appreciate that. What am I working on? Just getting this widget in good shape here. Hello, Himanshu. Welcome back. Do you have a pre-planned architecture in mind when you make your game, or do you kind of make it up as you go along? Yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely get into a bad situation if you try to like pre-architect things. There's like a... My hair is being weird. There's a risk that if you try to architect things before you know exactly what the system needs, that you'll end up just doing a bunch of wasted effort. So typically what I do is I start building the features that I know that I need, and then as I need new features that change the requirements, I will put in place the proper architecture at that point. I would say generally speaking, I have a good idea of what the architecture is going to look like, but I kind of let the needs of the game inform exactly what the architecture ends up being like. And I'll like split out and abstract things as necessary to get to where I need to be. But I think, so it's a little bit of both. Like I have a general idea of how to approach it, but I don't have like a very specific architecture in mind. Hello, Anthony. First technical interview went okay. Over-prepared and expected live coding, but it was just basic questions like promises and lets versus var, and totally fumbled that portion. Ah, well. Oh, so you're doing like JavaScript stuff? Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I think, you know, sometimes you might feel like you did not so well in a technical interview, and then you'll find out that, no, they actually liked how the interview went. So don't wait until you hear back before you get too upset about it. But yeah, I mean, I have lots of JavaScript experience, and to be honest, I don't even know if I could intelligently explain the difference between let versus var. My understanding is that there's kind of like a scope difference between those things, where let is like more narrowly scoped than var. So if you declare var in an outer scope, or no, you know what? I actually don't know. I just use let all the time. Like in any project that I've ever worked on, like there's a linter that just prohibits you from using var. So my answer to that question would be, I don't know what var does, but you should just use let all the time. Anyway, I love how most times you don't even debug, you just write await and hopes for the best. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident that it'll work. Fire Kitty, yes indeed. The flow in both health flasks are the same. Why is it that they so? Why is it so that they aren't? What? Why is that so? Aren't they randomized? No, the flow is not randomized, but I could reverse the flow for one of them. That sounds like something I could do. Hello, DK. Can you tell me when Godot will feature ray tracing or path tracing? I have no idea. I do not know, I'm sorry. I don't have any knowledge about that. How could you move that health bar? I'm not sure what you are referring to, Kelso, but welcome back. Hello, Turbo Shook, welcome, welcome. Let have block scope and var has functional scope. There you go, see? Thank you, Himanshu. What timeline do you think of finishing this project? Well, I want this project to be done before the end of the year. Right now, progress is slow because I have this part-time job now, and also I have, I'm still finishing up that course that I've been spending the past 3 or 4 weeks on. So the course will be done before the end of the month. Once that's done, then all I have to worry about is, I still need to produce YouTube content, so the code review stuff. I still need to work on this game, and I will still have that part-time job for, 3 weeks or so after the course is done. So yeah. How are you showing the comment on the screen on OBS trick? Oh, I'm using an app called Social Stream Ninja. And so if you just Google that, you'll find the website for that, and it will tell you how to set that all up. I think you asked how you move the liquid. Oh yeah, that's just a shader there. Yeah, so this motion here is just a shader applied to a texture. GMTK Jam is also coming soon. Right, so I will be doing that. Does that occur over a weekend? It should, right? As long as it occurs over a weekend, it should be the case that I can participate. July 31st? Oh, it starts on a Thursday. July 31st and ends on August 3rd. Oh, it's actually quite a long jam. So it ends on August 3rd. Oh, it ends on a Sunday. That should be plenty of time. I should be able to... So yeah, so during that period of time, I will be mostly focused on the GMTK jam for sure. I'm definitely not going to miss that. What Himanshu said was what they wanted to hear. Oh, I went on some tangent about let being strictly typed. So here's my advice for you after having done many technical interviews. Your interviewer would much rather hear I don't know or I'm not sure rather than you just trying to guess at the right answer. So if you ever find yourself in a technical interview and you're not absolutely positive of the answer, you should say that. You should say, yeah, I'm actually not sure. And you can elaborate too. You could say, well, I'm not sure, but, like if I was in that position, I would say, I'm not sure. I think it has something to do with the scoping of the variables, but I would have to look that up to know exactly what that means. That's what I would say if I was in your situation. You're welcome. Hello, Andrew. It's been a while since I've caught one of your streams. Well, welcome back. Good to see you again. So early stream. Yes, indeed. If you're interested, why you can check out the beginning of the VOD here. So you applied 2 color shader and that liquid to move nice. It's 2 different textures that are just being scrolled with a shader. The UV is being scrolled. Hello, Aaron. Welcome. Dual monitor setup? Yes, I do have a dual monitor setup. That's how I can read all your chats without changing the screen that you see. All right, so now this works as a standalone scene, but now I have to figure out if this is actually going to work in game, but I do need to actually fade that out. So I think in the run manager, enemy board dot kill. On-queued combat handled. Yeah, unfortunately, I think I'm going to need to... This would be a lot easier if I wanted to make the combat state in this its own state machine, but the problem is that it... Yeah, there's a whole bunch of... Alright. I don't really like this, but... I think what I need to do is probably store a reference to the combat widget. I need to figure out a better way of doing this. I don't really like this that much, but... But I also need to handle the resurrection state. I guess I'll worry about that next. Let's just see if this works. Hello, Rookie Tookie. I'm doing well. How are you doing? He's a developer now, so kind of know the pain. So increase the timeline for the jam now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Mark Brown. Yep. It's my first technical interview ever, so definitely messed up some areas. Appreciate the advice. Yeah, for sure. Hello, Artem. Welcome back. Good to see you. I like turtles. That's awesome. Welcome to the Lone Initiate. 3 days left before payday. Can't wait to buy the demo. Buy the demo. Welcome back, Balato. Just got the rejection email. Life goes on. Oh, that's all right. Yep. Life does go on. I've gotten plenty of rejection emails as well. It's all good. Speed up. I do like the idea of reversing the flow for one of these. I'm definitely going to do that. Let's see if this works. Ooh, it did work. Very nice. Ah, shoot. You know what I just realized? The status containers are not fading out either. So I'm going to need to fade those out as well. Enemy status. Okay, let's do player status, enemy status. Node private control, player status. Node private control, enemy status. Oh boy, this is a mess, but we're going. There we go. Actually, I should probably wait for some status to appear. Well, this one doesn't apply any statuses, so we'll just go ahead. That one also doesn't apply any statuses. Neither does this one. What? What is going on here? Also, is that not being queue freed? I don't know if these combat widgets are being queue freed. Yeah, it's not. So those combat widgets are just... So I need to free that as well. I guess what I'll just do is I'll just do queue free in here. That should basically address that. Just make sure that that's actually working. Okay, we'll go to the remote scene tree, canvas layer, nope, run manager, game UI, HBox container, play container. Yeah, that combat widget is no longer there. If I go to another combat, I should see a combat widget show up here. Yep, and then if I do this, boom, that combat widget disappears. Okay, so that's good. So now I gotta figure out the resurrection stuff. Let's see what it looks like if I just let the guy beat me up. Actually, I don't think the widget needs to disappear. I don't think that's necessary. We can just keep the widget in there, resurrect. Okay, yeah, we'll just keep the widget. Might as well. Is that creating another widget though? That's the question. No, it does not. Okay, so we're good. So I actually don't need to make any changes there. Okay. Does C# and Godot have any cons compared to GDScript? The only con I can think of really is that you can't export to web. That's basically it. Yeah. If you're experienced in C#, then I would encourage you to try it out if you don't need web exports. But if you are familiar with C#, I don't think GDScript is that hard to pick up either. Is the map art permanent? No, everything's in flux. I've got a lot of work to do on basically everything, so. Purchase your course to learn how to properly use C# and Godot. Great way to start. Thanks for providing it. You're welcome, Pyru. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. And thank you for the message. Okay, let me... What am I doing? I'm going to commit what I have. So add fade out to combat widget. Okay. So now, what do I need to do? So there's a lack of highlighting when I hover over these things. There's really a lack of indication generally about hovering over stuff. I don't know how I'm going to resolve that. Let's open up Sprite here. Oh boy, let's see what's going on here. Widget. This was the old widget. What does that even look like? Ooh, yeah. Let's get rid of the old widget. Don't need that anymore. Widget highlighting. Let's get rid of the orrery mask. Okay. Speed. Speed disk segments. So that's one thing I want to do is I want to add just a little bit of texturing to this. See how that looks. What is going on here? Yeah, I think that adds a nice little bit of texture, but I want these to be highlighted. I want these to be highlighted now when I hover over things, which is going to be a little bit tricky, I think, actually. How am I going to do that? I think what I'll do maybe is speed disk highlight. I'll just do this in red first so I can actually see it. We'll maybe try something like that. Speed disk highlight. Boop. That was a very odd way of doing that, but let's do highlight 1, or let's do highlight 0, I guess. I don't know, this is a mess. Okay, I think the highlighting needs to be bigger than that, actually. I suppose this would be easier if I did. By the way, the new Sprite update added diagonal symmetry, which is awesome. I've been waiting for that. So we'll try this instead. So then when you hover over it, it will show this texture instead. And then we gotta duplicate this. Rotate. Put it there. I just hope that this will render correctly, but we'll see. Highlight 1. Oops. Highlight 3. All right, let's see what happens. Node private sprite 2D. Highlight 1, or no, 0. Let's just have AI autocomplete this for me. Node. Okay. I guess I'll create area.mouse entered. Okay, we can do a mouse entered as well. So let's do this. Private area 2D disk highlights. Oh, this needs to be a sprite 2D. My bad. Okay. Area.mouse entered plus equals on area mouse entered. Let's call it on disk area. Mouse entered with index area dot mouse exited on disk area mouse exited. Maybe I do want that. Yeah, we'll just keep it the way that AI has written it, and that's fine. Actually don't need the index here. Actually, I'll just do it the way that I wanted to do it. All right, and then we need to for each var highlight and disk highlights visible equals false. Goodness gracious. All right, let's see if that works. C# for web is already in the works. With C#, we'll have all the infinity stones. Yeah, true. What's the next course you're working on? Online cooperative multiplayer with GDScript. C# should have been the standard from the start. Maybe. I mean, I think I do like GDScript. I don't have a problem with GDScript at all. C# is very useful though. How to get into Godot? I did some tutorials, but whenever I take off the training wheels, I just draw a full blank. Yeah, I think my advice would be to... I can't test the speed disks in here. Oops. My advice would be to just try to start small. Like, I think a good exercise is try to replicate platformer movement, right? So if you've taken a platformer tutorial, start a new project and just focus on getting character movement in place. Can you get input working? And can you get that moving the character around? Can you get jumping working and then do like the floor detection to know when you can jump again? Like, just start really small. Just start with the basics. And, you know, if you forget, I don't remember how to, you know, add input handling, then just go and look up that very specific piece and try to use the documentation first, I would say, rather than go to a tutorial, because you'll be tempted to just copy the tutorial code. But yeah, like, just take off the training wheels, like you said, but just do one very simple thing at a time. Can you also... or take off the training wheels and just see if you can do very basic things at first, like character movement, like I said. That might help you. Love the channel. Thank you, Kazama. Was wondering why you didn't also stream on Twitch. The big reason is because Twitch technically doesn't allow you to show chat from other places on your stream. So I wouldn't be able to show YouTube chat on my stream. Also, my audience is already here, so. Big plus of GDScript is no compilation. That's true. But that's also potentially a downside because you don't get compilation, you don't get compile time errors. We talk about interface type architecture in GDScript lately. Just consider children nodes as main node class parts. Create separate interface class with empty methods. To override a future implementation, add that node to the main object and add extend interface class to override methods in it. After that, when you want to check if an object A is type of iExample, use static method, which will go through node A children and try to find the node of type interface. I see. I mean, that can work, but also the next update of Godot is coming out with abstract classes. So I think that you could probably accomplish something similar without all the nodes and just using abstract classes. Because I guess the problem is that it's still probably going to be the case that you can't extend more than one thing. That's the nice thing about interfaces in C# and other languages, is that you can add as many interfaces as you want to the class definition. But I think abstract classes are a move in the right direction. Almost finished with your C# course. I'm curious why Y-sort ordering isn't enabled by default. Seems like it should be. Yeah, I think... I understand it because by default the ordering is the position of the nodes in the tree. That makes more sense to me as a default because that's something that you can see very clearly and have explicit control over. But Y-sort positions the rendering order sort of independent of their location in the scene tree, which is a little bit less intuitive, I think. But it is definitely useful, I agree. Like, I use Y-sort in almost all of my projects. Actually, this is like the first project I've done in a while where I don't have any sort of Y-sorting because it's just a flat screen. Godot documentation is chef's kiss. Yes, it's getting better for sure. Thank you, I'll try that. You're welcome, Thomas. You are welcome. Abstract class will only add a protection from creation of object, no abstract methods. Really? Wait, that doesn't sound right. What is the point of... So there's no abstract methods? Really? So there's a container here, which is an abstract class. It has these virtual methods. So you're not going to be able to declare virtual methods in an abstract class? If that's the case, then that, yeah, kind of defeats the purpose of abstract classes. Hello, Louis T. Dev. Good morning to you as well. Been doing some randomly generated dungeons in 3D, and I finally got it to work after 4 weeks or so. Yeah. Dungeon generation, procedural generation is really, really hard. And I think that this is a trap that a lot of people fall into, myself included, is like being a relatively inexperienced game dev, you know, however many years ago. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to make like a random procedural generation. It's going to be super easy. And like, it's like actually not easy at all. It's really hard. It's really hard to do that correctly. I would love interfaces or multiple inheritance generics too, please. Yes, absolutely. Welcome back, Brackhack. I miss interfaces dearly, yeah. If GDScript can get proper abstract classes and proper interfaces or a similar system, I think people are talking about like a trait system, then, I mean, what will you need after that? So GDScript will have static typing that you can use optionally. It will have abstract classes, interfaces. Yeah, I guess the big pain point with GDScript is that Godot is a very much like object-oriented programming setup with the nodes and like inheritance and stuff like that. But then GDScript doesn't give you the tools to do a lot of that stuff yourself. So it's kind of like a weird pain point, right? Reddit and official documentation. Interesting. Okay, that's unfortunate. It just feels cursed having to check what class an object is or check if a var or method exists on it. Yes. There's a separate PR for abstract methods. They were separated for whatever reason. Oh, okay. So maybe they're just doing one major step at a time. And I wonder if the abstract method work will later play into an interface system. So maybe they are thinking about interfaces or something similar in the future, and they're just trying to figure out like maybe a nice unified way of having virtual methods. That could be the case. It's only semi-procedural. I use the room templates and just randomly select from those, but getting doors and sort of lineup has been the real headache. Yes, yeah. The very, very early versions of Gunforged, I was doing something similar where I generated a dungeon, and the dungeon generation algorithm was really just to generate the corridors, and then the rooms would be pre-made room templates. But yeah, the big problem again is like, yeah, if you've got a corridor connecting at the north end of a room, then you need to do one thing versus if it's connecting at the west end or the east end. So I definitely feel your pain. GDScript is a slight bottleneck currently. I don't know if bottleneck is the right word. It does, if you're coming at GDScript with like traditional object-oriented background, there you are going to hit some pain points with respect to that kind of stuff. With my way, you can have as many interface nodes as you want. Just put in as child as parent with my static method. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that sounds interesting. Do you have a specific reason for using C# in your commercial projects? Yeah, it's just the structure. I'm productive with C#, so that's basically it. Instantaneously turn on type enforcement. Welcome back, programming gamer. So what am I doing? Oh yeah, I need to make sure that this actually works. Oh, look at that, it is working. Get the highlight in place. Can't really see it all that well though. So I will once again extend this. Oops. Okay, hopefully that's the last extension that I need to do here. But then I need to reorient all these again. Oh, that's just gonna fill up the whole thing. Well, that's fine. That's fine. When I click it, it's not marking it as invisible. So the mouse exit is not working. On disk area mouse exited. Probably because I'm turning off. Is input disabled? Wonder if I should, instead of doing this is input disabled, I wonder if I should just turn the pickable off. So maybe I'll do that instead. For each var area in disk areas, area.input pickable equals false. I wonder if I just do that instead. And then enable all of them again. I don't think it makes sense to maintain this separate is input disabled here. Yeah, and I don't need this check anymore because these input events are not going to get there if the input area is disabled. Oh, and the other thing that I want to do probably is when I call play out, I probably want all of those to be disabled as well. Okay. Let's see what that does. That might simplify things greatly. That might simplify things greatly. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's working good. Cool. Let's do a resurrect here. I gotta figure out that little flicker there. Oh, I need to so when I resurrect, I can't restart the combat. So that's something that I need to do as well. Interesting, okay. So I need to show that combat button again. Shoot. There's so many little things to keep in mind. Development speed is pretty good with GDScript. Yes, I agree. Performance is another story. Yeah, I mean, I will say that for the kind of games that I've made, GDScript is not a problem. Animations are looking really smooth. Thank you. UI looks like a luxurious culty stuff. I like the vibe a lot. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. How did you make the UI spin in Pixel Perfect? I'm having trouble doing it for my fan game. UI spin in Pixel Perfect. Yeah, do you want to elaborate a little bit? I'm not exactly sure what you mean there. Shoot, I need to show that combat thing. Okay, well, let's just work on combat this. Yeah, if you don't mind elaborating on that comment real quick, I'd appreciate that. But also, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break and get a refill on my drink and all that stuff. Actually, it'll be a 3-minute break. So in the meantime, please check out the links in the description below. And those are all the ways you can support me. And I'll be right back in just 3 minutes. Okay, be right back. All right, I'm back. Hello, Aku. Hello, can I have your opinion? I really like the Godot made some stuff with it, but I don't really like 2D games. I want to make some simulations and can't spend too much time. Is Godot still suitable? I mean, it depends. I'm not an expert in Godot 3D by any means, but I would say that my personal opinion is that if I wanted to make a sophisticated 3D game with good visuals and decent performance, I would probably seriously investigate using something else like Unity instead. That does not to say that you can't make sophisticated 3D games in Godot. You've got games like Road to Vostok, you've got games like Cassette Beasts and everything, but yeah, Godot 3D still makes me a little bit uneasy for a variety of reasons. The last time I did try a 3D project one time in Godot 3D, and it was just like kind of a pain, but that was back in the Godot 3 days, so it's probably better in Godot 4, but you know, I can't, I guess all of that is to say I can't really give you good advice there. But me personally, I'd probably, I mean, I would still investigate Godot and see if it would suit my purposes, but I would probably focus more on Unity personally. But I don't know. The answer is I don't really know. Sorry. The pixels stay in a grid and not in HD. Went with HDs. Oh, pixel perfect grid like Animal Well games with pixel shaders. Yeah, that's just a matter of keeping the viewport resolution down. So in project settings, display, yeah, the stretch mode down here is viewport, which basically maintains the resolution. So it's 640 by 360. You can imagine all the rotations happening on a 640 by 360 canvas, right? Which is very low resolution, which creates that chunky pixelation. And then what it does is it takes that 640 by 360 and it scales it up after any of the rendering has been done to the window size. If you used canvas items, it would do sort of the opposite. It would stretch everything up first and then apply the rotations, and then the rotations have, you know, the higher resolution grid to work with. Because ultimately, it's all a pixel grid at the end of the day, right?